Surely you've heard of famous stars and talented athletes, but did you know that some of them have faced unimaginable challenges with their bodies and still managed to rise stronger than ever? In this video, we will explore the stories of 15 women who, despite having imperfect bodies, possess extraordinary strength and resilience. These women have turned their hardships into motivation to shine, and their stories will undoubtedly make you rethink what true strength really means. Are you ready to witness these inspiring journeys? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any upcoming videos, where we will continue to share more stories of incredible determination and strength. In 2008, in the heart of bustling London, Katie Piper was living the brightest days of her 24-year-old life. As a promising model and TV presenter, her future seemed like a beautiful, endless path. However, no one could have predicted that, in an instant, her life, dreams, and career would be shattered by a horrific incident, an acid attack. The aftermath wasn't just the usual physical pain, but an unimaginable destruction. The harsh chemicals took away the vision in one eye and completely changed her face. Worse still, in her panic, she accidentally swallowed some of the liquid, causing severe damage to her esophagus and stomach. From a confident young woman always in front of the camera, Katie woke up in intensive care, facing an incredibly dark, painful reality and a life-threatening situation. Anyone in such a desperate circumstance might have easily chosen to give up, retreat, and hide from society's judgment to protect themselves. But Katie Piper chose a different path. Behind that cold hospital door began one of the greatest survival and breakthrough journeys. Over more than a decade, she endured unimaginable medical challenges, undergoing over 400 surgeries. These were days filled with endless returns to the operating table, enduring painful surgeries for skin grafts and tissue reconstruction. The medical team worked painstakingly to reconstruct every millimeter of facial tissue, and the most complex part was restoring her esophagus so she could regain basic functions like chewing and swallowing. However, what made the world stand in awe of Katie was not only her extraordinary physical endurance, but her immense courage when she chose to face the darkness. Instead of hiding behind a medical mask to protect her face, Katie proudly removed it and stepped onto national television to share her story. She quickly established the Katie Piper Foundation, transforming herself into a beacon of hope, creating a comprehensive support network for burn survivors and people with disfigurements worldwide. Katie Piper rewrote the definition of beauty, showing everyone that no tragedy can erode one's dignity, and a relentless will to live is the most radiant and eternal beauty of all. Hit like and subscribe to the channel to help spread this powerful message and support the Katie Piper Foundation in its mission to change the lives of those affected by burns and facial injuries. Imagine this question. For a fashion model, where body shape and legs are often considered the key to a career, what happens if an unexpected event strips away that advantage? The natural psychological reflex would probably be to collapse, retreat from the spotlight, and hide from prying eyes. But the story of Paola Antonini, a passionate young woman from Brazil, offers an answer that completely defies conventional reasoning. Everything changed on the night before New Year's Eve in 2014. While Paola was excitedly preparing for her New Year's trip, an unexpected traffic accident occurred. The powerful collision severely damaged her left lower limb. Despite the medical team's best efforts, in order to save her life, they had no choice but to amputate part of her left leg. In an instant, her bright future seemed to close forever. However, the most miraculous part lies in Paola's attitude. After leaving the hospital bed, she didn't choose to hide or blame fate. She accepted her prosthetic leg made with bionic technology not as a sad substitute, but as a companion on her new journey. The real breakthrough came when Paola firmly rejected any silicone cosmetic covering to disguise the prosthetic leg to make it look like a real one. Instead, she proudly flaunted the modern metal lines as a unique signature of her own. With her radiant smile always on her face, Paola confidently returned to the runway, rocking her favorite outfits, surfing, dancing, and living a more complete life than ever before. Paola Antonini's journey of breaking through sends an invaluable message. True beauty is never limited by a perfect physical body. It shines brightest from a resilient soul and a fierce desire to live. Youth is always associated with radiant dreams and vibrant beauty. For Andrea Sierra Salazar, a 17-year-old high school student with a fierce passion for modeling, her flowing hair and bright smile were her greatest pride. However, life sometimes brings challenges that are beyond any plans. When unusual symptoms appeared, Andrea received a diagnosis that shocked her youth. She was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma. In order to survive, Andrea had to undergo a very harsh chemotherapy regimen. The chemical drops meant to save her life, however, came with devastating side effects on her appearance. The hair follicles on her body collapsed entirely. In a short period, Andrea faced total hair loss. Not only did her hair disappear, but even her eyebrows and eyelashes began to fall out. The texture and pigmentation of her skin also changed, losing its natural vitality. For a young girl in her prime with dreams of standing in front of the camera, seeing her reflection change daily in the mirror was a huge psychological shock. In the beginning, Andrea turned to wigs as a shield to hide the truth and protect the fragile confidence she had left. However, deep inside, she realized that hiding under a disguise didn't make her stronger. Then came a bold decision that would inspire millions. Andrea chose to do a special artistic photo shoot. This time, she courageously removed all the wigs, donned a dazzling blue evening gown, and confidently stepped in front of the camera with her proud, bald head. No more concealment. Andrea showcased the original, radiant, and resilient beauty of someone striving to overcome the storm. These photos instantly created a global media earthquake. Andrea Sierra Salazar shattered all strict beauty standards, proving to the world that while medical challenges may take away hair or change skin, they can never steal the essence, femininity, and radiant beauty that emanates from a courageous soul. Hit like and subscribe to the channel to follow more inspiring stories about true strength and femininity. Imagine a newborn skull as a flexible protective wall, designed by nature to continuously expand, allowing space for the brain to grow. However, for Ariel Henley, this wall was unexpectedly locked from the moment she was in her mother's womb. Ariel was born with Crouzon syndrome, a congenital condition that causes the skull sutures to fuse too early. This premature fusion created immense pressure, directly compressing her developing brain. The inevitable result was a misaligned facial structure, with protruding eyeballs and a significantly narrowed upper respiratory system. Instead of a peaceful fairy tale, Ariel's childhood was a relentless battle fought within the hospital corridors and under the harsh lights of operating rooms. She had to endure numerous complex craniofacial surgeries. These medical interventions were not for cosmetic purposes. They were life-or-death races to expand her skull, reclaim space for her brain to survive, protect her eyesight, and maintain her airway. But Ariel Henley turned the tide with great pride. She chose to wield her pen as a sharp weapon, becoming a powerful writer and social activist. Through her heartfelt memoirs, which touched the hearts of millions of readers, Ariel bravely exposed the cruelty of appearance-based prejudices, directly challenging rigid beauty standards. Her journey is a compelling testament that the asymmetry of one's face can never limit the courage and radiant beauty of a free soul. Let's begin with a foundational hypothesis. To become an artist, what is the ultimate physical tool a person needs? Surely it's a pair of skillful hands. If a person is born without arms and with severely contracted legs, the common logic would lead to a pessimistic conclusion. The door to the world of visual arts is forever closed. We often assume that physical limitations would completely extinguish creative potential. However, the life of British artist Allison Lapper is a real-world case that shatters this prejudice. From the moment she was born, Allison's body bore the marks of the extremely rare condition called phocomelia. Lacking arms and with underdeveloped legs, her childhood was filled with harsh challenges. Raised away from her family and living in care facilities, according to the initial hypothesis, her future seemed destined to revolve around dependence and hiding from society's gaze. Yet deep within her imperfect body was a fierce will to defy the odds. Faced with her circumstances, Allison realized that if she couldn't use her hands to hold a brush, she would find another way to communicate with the world. Through unimaginable perseverance, she trained her jaw and neck to expertly control the brush, using her mouth to create stunning art. Every stroke was filled with patience, leading her to the prestigious University of Brighton, where she graduated with honors in fine arts. The brightest point of Allison's story lies not just in the beautiful paintings she created. She boldly made her own unique body the centerpiece of her artwork, exposing and challenging the superficial standards of beauty set by society. The pinnacle of her recognition came when a giant marble statue of her, depicting her pregnant and proudly displayed at Trafalgar Square in London, was unveiled. The artwork caused a media sensation, forcing millions of passers-by to stop, discard their prejudices, and redefine the meaning of true perfection. Allison Lapper's journey is a living testament that true beauty and outstanding art are never limited by a physical body. They originate from a completely free soul. By all conventional logic, we often assume that life cannot exist or thrive without a brain, the central organ that governs all functions. In the case of Alex Simpson, a young girl born with the rare condition of hydranencephaly, this hypothesis seemed even more devastating. From birth, her skull structure was altered, with both cerebral hemispheres missing and replaced by fluid-filled sacs, leaving only a tiny part of the cerebellum. Faced with this severe biological barrier, early predictions stated that the young girl would struggle to survive past the age of 4, and forming emotional connections with the world around her seemed impossible. However, when we look deeper into Alex's actual journey, we witness a miracle that shatters all traditional logical assumptions. Surpassing the milestone of 20 years of life, she not only survived fiercely, but also defied the most rigid physical limitations. Though living in a world devoid of light and sound, Alex developed a mysterious ability to sense and fully experience the love, warmth, and protection from her family through every delicate touch. The resilient existence of Alex Simpson serves as a living testament that the will to live and the power of love can fill the voids that nature unintentionally leaves behind. Let's start with a hypothesis about absolute safety. In embryonic biology, the womb is always assumed to be a perfect protective system, an impregnable fortress safeguarding the developing life. Common logic leads us to believe that all risks truly begin when a child faces the outside world. But what happens if the protective membranes within this fortress encounter structural faults and become the most severe physical obstacle? This is exactly the mechanical system that unfolded in the development of Rebekah Marine, an American model. She was born with the intervention of a variable called Amniotic Band Syndrome. Instead of fulfilling its protective function, the fibrous amniotic bands inside the uterus detached and tightly wrapped around her right arm like a tourniquet. This mechanical knot completely severed the blood supply, causing the biological development in that area to cease. As a result, Rebekah was born without her entire right forearm and hand. For many years, her life followed the forecasted script of a society full of biases. With a strong desire to become a model, Rebekah was continually rejected by agencies. The fashion industry's standards were then based on the perfect symmetry of the human body. To adapt, she once used aesthetic silicone prosthetic arms simply to camouflage, trying to fill the visual gap and blend into the crowd. But the breakthrough in this analysis came when Rebekah decided to stop hiding and undergo a revolutionary upgrade. Completely rejecting traditional camouflage solutions, she integrated an advanced bionic arm into her body. In terms of systems, this was a masterpiece of electromechanical engineering. The arm operated by reading the tiny electrical signals from the remaining muscle bundles in her upper arm. Every time Rebekah's brain sent a command, sensors would capture, decode the data, and convert it into flexible mechanical movements of the metal fingers. Rebekah Marine did not hide the presence of technology. On the contrary, she made it a unique aesthetic statement. Known as the bionic model, she confidently strutted down prestigious runways such as New York Fashion Week. By merging physiology with future technology, she shattered outdated algorithms of beauty standards. Rebekah's story proves an incredible outcome. The flaws of nature are not the end, but often the opportunity to create a superior and more radiant version of oneself than ever before. The world of fashion has always been governed by invisible but incredibly strict standards of symmetry and bodily perfection. In an industry where every detail is scrutinized under the lens, is there room for a girl born with a congenital deficiency? This is the monumental wall of prejudice that Shaholly Ayers faced and shattered herself. From the moment she was born, a complication in her embryonic development left Shaholly permanently missing the structure of her right upper limb below the elbow. When she embraced the dream of becoming a professional model, all she received at the starting line were cold rejections. Traditional agencies bluntly turned her down, believing her appearance completely went against the beauty standards of the industry. But instead of giving up, Shaholly chose to carve her own path with courage. She bypassed the rigid recruitment system and personally connected with photographers and independent designers to build her portfolio. What set her apart the most was her resolute refusal to use prosthetic arms solely for camouflage, trying to hide her difference to please the crowd. It was this proud embrace of her original beauty that allowed Shaholly Ayers to confidently strut down the prestigious runway at New York Fashion Week, becoming the face of many global campaigns. She proved an undeniable truth. True perfection does not lie in a flawless body, but shines brightly through self-respect and bravery. Hit like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on inspiring stories like Shaholly's. For a long time, television screens and stage lights have been considered the realm of physical perfection. Roles are often tailored to flawless beauty, adhering to the crowd's stereotypical standards. But in the midst of this world, British actress Melissa Johns stepped forward and proudly broke all boundaries. Melissa was born with a congenital difference. An issue during her fetal development caused her right arm to remain incomplete. That arm extends only just below the elbow, entirely missing the forearm and hand. For anyone, this kind of deficit would be a massive challenge in everyday life. But for a young woman dreaming of shining under the spotlight, where every movement and gesture is scrutinized by the camera, this seemed like an insurmountable physical barrier. In her early years in the arts, Melissa constantly faced underlying prejudices. Directors often felt confused because scripts rarely included characters with disabilities, unless the disability was the central theme to tug at the audience's heartstrings. However, instead of letting the entertainment industry define her value, Melissa decided to redefine it herself. She refused to hide her right arm behind long outfits or rigid cosmetic prosthetics. Instead, she stepped in front of the camera, turning that inherent difference into a unique charm and strength on screen. With her genuine acting talent and confident aura, Melissa captivated millions of viewers through popular British TV shows like Coronation Street and Grantchester. Not stopping at personal success, she also co-founded a network of disabled artists, becoming a powerful voice advocating for the equal representation of disabled actors in film and television projects. Melissa Johns' story is not just a personal breakthrough, it's a revolution in awareness. She proves a brilliant truth. True art must reflect the diversity of life, and the most captivating beauty lies in daring to stand under the spotlight and celebrate one's original form. At 19, Aimee Purdy was living the best days of her youth. Full of energy and with an endless love for snowboarding, she embraced a bright future. However, no one could have predicted that her peaceful life would be completely turned upside down within just 24 hours, when an unexpected illness struck. A sudden case of meningitis hit, pushing Aimee into a life-threatening septic shock. In a desperate effort to protect her vital organs, her biological system had no choice but to cut off the peripheral circulation. The loss of blood supply severely damaged the cells and tissues in her limbs. Although the medical team managed to bring Aimee back from the brink of death, with her survival chances at only 2%, they were forced to make the most difficult decision, amputating both of her legs below the knee and removing her damaged spleen. Once a girl who dreamed of soaring on snowy mountains, Aimee woke up in the hospital with a body that was no longer whole. The initial period of facing this harsh reality with her cold metal prosthetic legs was one of the darkest times of her life. There were tears, and it seemed like despair would defeat her spirit. But deep inside Aimee, the flame of passion still burned brightly. She realized that while she couldn't change what she had lost, She had the power to decide how she would live moving forward. Not succumbing to adversity, Aimee set out to design specialized prosthetic legs, enabling her to balance on a snowboard once again. This extraordinary will to live brought her back to the slopes, and she went on to become one of the world's top Paralympic athletes, winning prestigious medals at the Paralympic Games. But she didn't stop there. Aimee moved millions of television viewers to tears as she confidently danced captivatingly on her mechanical legs on the show Dancing with the Stars. Aimee Purdy's journey is a magnificent anthem to human strength. She proved a powerful truth. The only limits are those we set ourselves. When you dare to dream and persevere, even metal legs can help you dance and soar higher than ever before. Imagine a world where human height is not a fixed biological constant. You could wake up with a height of 1.7 meters in the morning, but by evening, walk proudly at 1.85 meters. This may sound like a science fiction scenario about evolution, but this is the living reality of Aimee Mullins, the woman who has redefined the physical limits of the human body. Aimee's story began with a rare physiological barrier known as fibular hemimelia, a congenital absence of the fibula. Her lower limbs couldn't develop properly from the early stages of fetal development. By the time Aimee was just 1 year old, medical experts had to make a drastic decision: a major surgery to amputate both legs below the knee, removing the entire lower part of both legs. Under normal societal logic, this event might have forever trapped a child's future in dependence. However, Aimee refused to accept being a victim of fate. Instead of viewing her physical limitation as a crippling weakness, she began to form an audacious hypothesis. What if prosthetic legs weren't just a medical solution to cover up her condition, but rather an opportunity to upgrade beyond the capabilities of an average person? And she turned the tables spectacularly. Instead of settling for a fixed body, Aimee built a unique wardrobe of dozens of prosthetic legs, each with different functionalities and designs. On the Paralympic track, she used carbon fiber legs shaped like the curved legs of a cheetah to optimize her thrust and accelerate with power. When walking the prestigious Alexander McQueen fashion runway, she transformed her body into a work of art with exquisitely carved cedar wood legs. Most impressively, she could adjust her height according to the event she attended. Aimee Mullins shattered the boundaries between imperfection and superiority. She broke all the stereotypical standards society holds for a perfect body. Through her perfect blend of human will and technological power, Aimee delivered a bright message. The biological body is just the starting point, and the right to design the greatest version of yourself is always in your hands. Mandy Horvath is a living testament to breaking physical limits. In 2014, a devastating event occurred when she was tragically involved in a mechanical collision with a train. The immense force from the massive machine completely destroyed her lower limbs. To save her life, doctors had no choice but to amputate both of her legs above the knee. At just 21 years old, her primary means of movement was entirely. Instead of accepting a life confined to a wheelchair, as many predicted, Mandy embarked on a remarkable reprogramming of herself. She rejected sympathy and began training her upper body with the determination of a warrior. Using only the strength of her arms, Mandy astonished the world when she successfully climbed thousands of steep steps at Manitou Incline and even scaled the challenging Pikes Peak Mountain in the U.S. Recruitment. Mandy Horvath's life defies every conventional notion of disability. She proved a powerful truth. Legs made of flesh and bone are not the only way for someone to reach the top. When the will is strong enough to change the mindset, physical limits become irrelevant. Leave a 1 in the comments if Mandy Horvath's story inspires you. Prestigious runway at New York. Tammy Duckworth is an American politician and former military officer who currently serves as a U.S. Senator from Illinois. Before entering politics, she had a distinguished military career, particularly as a helicopter pilot in the Army. Tammy Duckworth made notable contributions to her country, but her journey is also marked by a tragic. In a combat mission in Iraq in 2004, the helicopter she was piloting was shot down, causing a devastating crash. Tammy Duckworth sustained severe physical injuries, including the loss of both legs and permanent damage to the function of her right arm. Despite these overwhelming challenges, she never lost her fighting spirit and determination to continue serving her country. Tammy Duckworth has become a symbol of strength and resilience, overcoming physical challenges while making significant contributions to her community. After the incident, she continued her military career and later transitioned into politics, becoming one of the first women from the U.S. military to be elected to the Senate. She has played a crucial role in advocating for policies that protect the rights of people with disabilities and has championed programs to support veterans. In addition, she is a passionate advocate for the rights of families and children, particularly in education and public health. The image of Tammy Duckworth, a strong woman who overcame every challenge to keep contributing to society, has inspired millions around the world. Her journey is a powerful testament to the strength of will and the spirit of overcoming adversity, making her a symbol of perseverance and courage. Jaime Ketchum is a strong and resilient woman, renowned for her journey of overcoming immense challenges following a severe burn accident. In 2002, Jaime experienced a life-altering incident in which she suffered extensive thermal burns. Flames engulfed her body, causing 95% of her skin to be severely burned. The accident not only damaged her dermis, but also led to muscle necrosis and soft tissue damage, putting her life in grave danger. It's a revelation. To save her life, Jaime had to undergo multiple complex surgeries, including the amputation of one arm and both legs due to severe and irreversible injuries. Despite facing immense physical loss, Jaime refused to give up hope and continued to fight through both the physical and emotional pain. Throughout her recovery journey, Jaime Ketchum became an inspiration to many as she shared her story, not just about overcoming physical challenges, but also about the strength of the mind and the power of healing. She proved that even in the most difficult circumstances, people can remain strong and reclaim their lives, filled with hope for the future. Shalom Nchom is a well-known model and influencer, recognized for her inspiring story of overcoming a major life challenge. At just 9 years old, Shalom was involved in a tragic accident when hot oil splashed onto her body. The incident left her with extensive burns, causing severe damage, including tight scarring bands, altering the structure of her hair follicles, and leading to deformities on her face, chest. These injuries not only caused physical pain, but also left lasting scars that significantly impacted Shalom's psychological well-being and self-confidence for many years. After the accident, Shalom underwent multiple complex surgeries and lengthy treatment plans to heal the wounds. However, instead of letting the scars define her life, Shalom chose to embrace them and face them head-on. She saw the scars not just as part of her body, but as a testament to her mental strength and resilience in overcoming adversity. Shalom became a powerful role model for self-acceptance, refusing to let her physical wounds define her worth. As she grew older, Shalom began sharing her story with the public through social media platforms. She became a model and influencer, inspiring millions, especially those facing similar challenges. The show. Through posts and videos, Shalom worked to reshape perceptions of beauty, highlighting that true beauty comes not only from physical appearance, but also from inner strength and self-confidence. She became an advocate for diversity in beauty and self-acceptance in a world often defined by strict appearance standards. More than just a model, Shalom is a powerful source of inspiration, using her personal experience to support others facing similar struggles. Through charity work and community campaigns, Shalom has been helping individuals with appearance-related trauma regain self-confidence and belief in themselves. Today, Shalom Nchom is recognized as a symbol of resilience, confidence, and the ability to overcome adversity. Her story serves as a testament that true beauty is not just what we see on the outside, but the spirit and determination to overcome life's challenges. Oksana Masters is a renowned American Paralympic athlete, celebrated not only for her exceptional sporting achievements, but also for her inspiring journey of overcoming adversity and significant life challenges. Born in Ukraine in 1988, Oksana was one of the individuals affected by the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, even though she did not live near the affected area. While her mother was pregnant, she was exposed to radiation from the explosion, which led to Oksana being born with a rare condition called fibular hemimelia, causing her limbs to develop abnormally. With fibular hemimelia, Oksana was missing the load-bearing bones in her lower legs, making movement extremely difficult and painful. Doctors told her that she would never walk like other children. As a teenager, after numerous surgeries and treatments, Oksana faced a tough decision: to amputate both of her legs in order to live a more comfortable life and relieve her constant pain. Despite facing many daunting challenges, Oksana refused to let them defeat her. After the amputation, she started using prosthetic legs and quickly adapted to her new life. Oksana not only accepted her physical limitations, but was determined to prove that the absence of her limbs would not stop her from pursuing her passion for sports. Oksana began competing in adaptive sports and quickly gained recognition for her exceptional talent. She won multiple gold medals at the Paralympic Games, especially in rowing. Oksana Masters' story is a powerful testament to extraordinary resilience and self-belief, proving that no obstacle can stop her from achieving her dreams. In addition to her success in sports, Oksana has become a powerful inspiration to people with disabilities worldwide. She has become a symbol of perseverance, the will to overcome challenges, and relentless effort in achieving success. Oksana Masters' story proves that nothing is impossible when you have the determination and mental strength to face any adversity. We've just seen strong women, famous stars, and athletes filled with determination who, despite having imperfect bodies, display extraordinary resilience. They have shown that strength isn't found in outward appearances, but in the ability to overcome life's challenges. If their stories inspire you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Let's spread the message of inner strength and the remarkable willpower of these women.